being all undead is because of these situations right here.
And now this is going to be that enhancement shaman BM Hunter Holy Paladin versus Rogue Mage Priest. And honestly, looked for Pooks to be the man under fire most of the game. They're just going to try to pretty much make him be unable to do anything throughout the game. So it looks like we are going to be following Reels out of the gate, and we'll get you in game. And the gates are about to open for game one between SKUS and this team of Czech 6.
Pooks and Vizing right out of the gate, and Reels looking for it. Looks like they're going to go on Reels. Unless they're choosing the target swap, but he is the target, and he's pulling all the way back. Already had that aim shot debuff on him.
And Toes got caught into a poly, but the pressure from SKUS going on to Flex, and there's those shocks from Flex onto Reels as he's trying to heal, but still now the damage starts rolling into Pooks, who has to block already. And now we see Toes coming around, still hasn't bubbled yet, but there's that Bloodlust already being used. Pooks out of block, still hovering around 10,000 HP, aim shot put back up, and pain suppression being used. So we do see a blind onto Twix. He's going to get bopped out of it. Great job by Toes. He's going to click that off and get back into the fight. Toes under a little bit of pressure. Still not bubbling yet, but look at Pooks, 2,500 HP. Divine him, keeping him up. Still 5,000 HP. Hypothermia is still up. Should be falling any second, but will it be in time? Flex gets over, and he does get the block off. So no time for Flex to connect just yet, but Pooks sitting inside that block. This is going to be his last one. 12,000 HP, and now they're going to go right back onto him, but the pressure of SKUS actually being turned over to Twix. He's going to go ahead and deterrence. Now Flex has gotten over to Pooks, but he's going to need aim shot up from Twix, and there we go. We finally see it, and he comes back over. Pooks falls below 10,000 HP, doing a great job of staying up, but this looks like that's it, and he will go down, and this Czech 6 team will score the first kill on Pooks. Pretty much as planned, and both of these teams knew what was coming.
Do you know the stunned female animation? When they're like, they hold their hands on their heads. Dude, that's what Reels is feeling like right now. They played, hey, hats off to SKUS. They played that great. They lasted longer than any team has so far against Czech 6, except for of course, the match that Fnatic won.
Now, looking at the damage breakdown, actually impressive numbers from both Enforcer and Pooks. Even Pooks, while being trained, doing 35,000 damage. Twix and Enforcer doing about the same, and Flex doing a little more than Pooks. Also, a little bit of damage input from Reels, but still, Pooks, in the long run, unable to stay up. Made it through both of those blocks, but still just too much damage.
So that was the first round in this matchup, was SKUS and Czech 6. Czech 6 coming out on top on Ruins of Lordaeron. It looks like we are going to be going back into Ruins of Lordaeron.
So there's nothing really going to change from the team of Czech 6. They're going to look to Pooks. They're going to look to train Pooks from start to finish. Now, I'm looking to SKUS. They kind of opted for a little pressure onto all three players. They opened onto Flex. There was a little damage onto Toads, and later in the game, they went on a Twix. I really hope that they try to establish onto one target and make it past Trinket or something, and really Toes seems like the best target for them, but then you just leave an enhancement shaman and a BM hunter free reign to just put as much damage as they like into your mage.
Yeah, and they did put a lot of pressure onto Toes. He did have to bubble. Not that that's a defining moment in this comp setup, but you know, they at least forced them to start to run cooldowns, which means they're making progress against this comp.
So let's take a look over at Twix as we come out the gates and see exactly how he positions himself, as really he's going to be trying to just stay on Pooks. And you can even tell by looking at him, he is wearing a couple pieces of PvE gear just to make his pet do that little extra damage. Gates have opened for game two between these two teams, and here you see them riding out already have Pooks targeted. They know what's going to happen, and a little bit of damage going, but still not a lot yet. Flex down to 4,000 HP, almost gets dropped at the start of the game. Bloodlust being used. He does have that shamanistic rage up, but look at Reels actually dropping very low, trying out something a little different. Drops down to under 10,000 HP, 5,000 HP. Kill shot comes in, and that's it. They're going to change things up and give Reels instead. 2 games played, 2 wins for Czech 6.
They blew him up. But excellent play by Twix. I mean, we saw him use disengage to get back in line of sight of his target, you know, on the other side of the tomb. And great switch over. I mean, look at how much damage that he took, 29,000, so there wasn't that much healing going on right there.
Not at all. 29,000 damage taken, just about enough to kill him, meaning once they finally did decide to make the swap over to him, it was pretty much done for. So both of these teams will have a few minutes to change things up if they would like. As you see on your screen, SKUS still seated at their chairs. And on the left side of the thing, of course, Czech 6 ready to go. And it looks like they're just going to go ahead and queue up the Grand Arena to be played for the third game. And now on this arena, as compared to Ruins of Lord Rod, they're going to have that big open area in the middle. But still, I expect Czech 6 just to run in the middle of things. And they will have the pillar to work with. But when facing an Enhancement Shaman and a Hunter, there's going to be traps and there's going to be a lot of things going around on this pillar. So they're going to have to try to break away from the pillar they're on and get to another one. And that's really going to be the moment where trouble is going to happen for SKUS.
And I'm sure Toes will choose a very strategic position directly in the center of this map to heal from.
And Toes usually in for those kills with HOJ trying to help out just that little bit. Not really much to trinket against Czech 6 outside of that HOJ in Hex. So really, if they make it to the second Hex in these games, it's where people get in a lot of trouble.
We are going to be following Enforcer out of the gate to see how we started. I mean, they did a massive amount of damage onto Flex right from the start. You know, he blew Shamanistic Rage right from the beginning, trying to keep himself up.
And actually, Enforcer are playing with 110 energy, so changing things up just that little bit as far as gear choice and spec. So we'll have to see if it's able to influence this game. But here we go as we see that Beast Rush set up. And once again, over onto Flex. See that cheap shot, and actually they're going to swap over to Toes, looks to be the target. Bloodlust already being used, but look at Pooks, drops down to 5,000 HP, almost instantly having to block. And now he's getting picked up. But still a pretty good start for Czech 6. A lot of damage going over onto the side of Czech 6 actually, and a Fear on the Flex immediately broken. Now here's where you have to watch out as Pooks is going to be in a lot of trouble. He's trying to get around that pillar and get a poly off. He's able to get a poly off onto Twix, and he's going to go ahead and get another one immediately, but 15,000 HP. Aim shot is up, and Bloodlust still cranking at this moment, but Toes in a little bit of trouble. There's that blind on the Toes, so let's see if they can make something happen here on the side of SKUS.
Toes is not blind right now, but no damage coming up onto Twix. He has Sack up on him. There we go. Now we see the cheap shot on Twix. Damage coming out from everyone on this team.
And now Pooks does not have hypothermia, so he will have that option of the second block. And finally a little bit of damage coming across, but he's just going to kite around and stay out of line of sight of Twix. And now you see him actually getting a little melee war there with an Enhancement Shaman. Not going to work out too well for you, Pooks. Reels will come across and get that penance off onto him. And now Toes does have to bubble as Flex is taking a lot of damage. And now we do see that dismantle, but still Pooks not able to really be a part of it. 5,000 HP. There's that second block as Bestial Wrath is up again. And now there's that Hex onto Reels. He is not going to be able to get any heals across, finally coming out of that. And now look at all the other two members of SKUS, and Enforcer the one to die. So 3 games, 3 losses for SKUS, and in each one a different member dying. Czech 6 staying clearly dominant and winning the series in the first 3 games. We will play out that 4th and 5th game as it may influence the standings later on this tournament, but Czech 6 doing what they do best in killing an RMP.
Yeah, and on the Grand, they did have the option of those pillars to hide behind, but didn't help them whatsoever.
Things not looking good for SKUS whatsoever at this point in the tournament.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this was a big match they needed to win.
Earlier today, they did have that loss against Fnatic. Now playing Czech 6, already losing this series, and then on Friday night losing to BHMS. So sitting at 0-3 in this tournament currently, and that's a very bad position to be at, especially when you're trying to be top 4 to even make it into Sunday.
So they're queuing right back up since this is after the 3rd game. So we're going to see exactly what's going to happen if they do any switches after this next game. Blade's Edge Arena, not much is going to change.
Well, one of the good things that Pooks does, well, actually any of the members of SKUS, I guess you have to say at this point because all 3 have died, they do have the option of jumping off the bridge when that Zerg of pets is basically on you. They can just hop off and they'll have to run all the way down the ramp, giving you just that little bit of breathing room, which may influence the games, but I still think it's going to be pretty much the same story. Now, one of the things is in that last game, Enforcer's opener onto Flex wasn't as strong as we saw 2 games ago. and it seems like he was kind of dancing around. They did that swap over to Toes, and I really think that momentum gainer onto Flex is what they need to stick with.
So we're going to be following Toes out of the gate, since he'll be able to see the whole top of the bridge pretty well from his position in the back. Toes had to use basically all of his clowns the last match. You know, we saw him using Aura Mastery and a bubble and everything. So SK made that match last long enough so that he had to use all those. So they just have to keep doing that.
Well, at the same time, they made him I'll go through all of his cooldowns, but the second Hex and second Mr. Wrath came up, and that is just a no bueno situation for an RMP that's already out of every single cooldown. Here comes the Wolves, and now damage onto Twix, already down to 10,000 HP, and it looks like he's going to have to treat that. Now look at Pooks, though, under fire, down to 5,000 HP, 2,000 HP, oh my god, barely gets the block off, and now they're going to go ahead and Bloodlust now, and go on to Enforcer, who drops into 5,000 HP instantly, has to vanish, and they're just swapping damage around, but Beast of Wrath falls, and Twix under it, in a lot of pressure. He gets a big heal from Toes, 18,000 HP, but they're just going to put damage on him. But Pooks out of that block, Hypothermia up, hovering around 10,000 HP. Aim shot finally goes back up. Pooks down to under 5,000 HP. He's going to try to blink away, and Twix trying to get over to him. And look at Pooks trying to get an invis off as well. A little disengaged, trying to get back over to him. And Pooks is kiting around underneath this arena. Big fear comes in from Reels, hitting all three members of Check 6.
And he did get the invis off, and he's evocating right now, but they're already back on top of him. Pooks is, his hypothermia is off. He's going to have that second block pretty soon, and that aim shot just wore off, but it's back on. So he's going to be taking a lot of damage right here. Is in the center, trying to Frost Nova onto a freedom target. Not a good idea.
And now you see Pooks going to go ahead and block at 10,000 HP. Watch out, Enforcer. You're still very low as well, and you see him kind of kiting around the side of the pillar as Twix is bed. Bill Gates is already on him. Dropped down to 3,000 HP. There's that second Hex on the Reels. Nothing for it. And that's going to do it for the fourth game, making it Check 6-4 over SKUS at 0. One more game to play.
All right, now here's the defining point. Every match, they've tried to drag it out as far as they can. They're down 4-0. Do you think your prediction's going to be right or mine?
The look at things, I think you may win this one. But, you know, you keep talking, dragging out as this RMP. They really only have that small window to work with to score a kill. Because, I mean, as you see, that second Hex, I don't even believe that was necessary for them to score that kill. But it just pretty much proved the point that Reels was not going to get a heal off at that point. And then even still, that second Bestial Wrath. And now, you know what, just to make things that much better, let's go ahead and play Game 5 on the Ring of Valor and see if SKUS can bring it back a little bit and take one round away from Check 6.
Got some predictions for this round. Got a big red pet.
Getting big, getting red,
getting cleavy. Channeling a little Glix there. Probably one of the best guest shoutcasters of all time.
And as these days do progress into the longer hours, I think our English will get worse and worse. We'll probably stutter more and more, but, you know, what can you do? And this is SKUS on the left side, Pooks, Enforcer, and Reels on the right side, Toes, Flex, and Twix. Completely dominant in this series, not leaving any room for SKUS so far. Let's see if they can bring one game back to the way of this RMP.
I mean, who do you think they're going to go on this time? They've killed everyone. They've almost killed Pooks every single time, forced him to use those blocks. You know, they absolutely destroyed Reels one match. You know, they've killed Enforcer, so they can go on whoever they want.
Well, Enforcer's died twice, so it's Reels or Pooks' turn, actually, so
right.
It should be one of them. But, of course, this is Check 6. They're not very fair. They'll probably just kill whoever they want. But, I mean, looking back at Pooks, he actually, that last game, that first block, barely got it off. I mean, it's just got to be a frustrating game for Pooks to be playing, because it's just like, once they get to me, I probably need to block right now or I'm going to die. And now the gates approaching the top. Game 5 between SKUS versus Check 6. And here we go. Early Nova coming in from Pooks as he's coming right into this game. And now the Spirit Wolves are out, followed by the Bloodlust. Looks like Reels is the target. 16,000 HP dropping very fast. And now we look over and it looks like Toes is going to be the one for SKUS to pressure. But Reels in a lot of trouble. Yeah, that's going to be it. Deuces, fella. And that's going to be it. 5-0 for Check 6 over SKUS.
Well, that probably wasn't the funnest match for SKUS, but they did get past that one match that would be the rough match of the weekend for them.
I don't think they've had a non-rough match so far here in Anaheim, but I mean, just taking a quick look at the damage. I mean, Flex and Twix, 20,000, 23,000 in that very limited time. I mean, it's just pretty ridiculous how much damage this comp does put out in a small window. So that's going to conclude this series between Check 6 and SKUS at 5-0. Of course, we do have plenty more WoW action coming up. Our next game is going to be EG versus Complexity. EG with Azale and 2 new members, Smitten and Tenderloin versus Complexity, Wreckful, Vinruki, and Soda. We're going to take a short commercial break and come right back with you here live in Anaheim for the Major League Gaming 2009 PC Circuit played on HP.